Welcome to this edition of Safety First. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. On today's program, we're talking about the Youth Public Safety Academy being held here in the city of Suffolk, coming up relatively pretty soon. Registration is going on now. And to talk about the Academy, kind of what it's all about, we have Sergeant Andre Sparks with Suffolk Police Department and Gary Lassiter, who's the Assistant Fire Marshal here with Suffolk Fire and Rescue. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Sure. Let's talk about what is the Academy? What is it all about? What does it mean? What are the goals of the Academy? If one of you can kind of jump in and kind of get us started with that.
The Academy started several years ago. It's to target at-risk youth. What we do is we take teenagers between the ages of 13 and 18 that are in the school system that might need an outlet after school. These are students that are going home to empty houses, and it's geared to give them a positive influence when they get out of school so they're not on the street, they're not hanging out with less than credible people. Sure. And it gives them a place to be to learn basically life skills, educating them on the finer points of being a police officer, being a firefighter. But it's not just about being a police officer, firefighter. It's so much more than that. Right. It's an academy put on by the mentors to teach life lessons and career choices.
Again, very, very noble goals, and there's a good intent of the Academy. What is it like to be a mentor to some of these young people coming in here that are again, trying to learn, and certainly, I'm sure, eager to learn in a lot of instances, but as far as working with them to make sure they're comfortable in the environment that y'all have set up and are ready to go through the classes?
I would have to say, Tim, that it is very rewarding to the mentors in itself also. When you have prior students that you see out and about in the community and they come up and they ask, can I come into the Academy again? And you know, we had just a few years ago, a mother wrote a very detailed email to us about her son's attitude prior to the Academy, and she invited us after the Academy to come and attend his honor roll ceremony, and that's very rewarding. Yes. To see, as they say, if you touch at least one, then you've done an excellent job.
Indeed, and I'm sure those success stories kind of come out of every class. I mean, in different ways, so to speak. And I guess, like you said, that is very rewarding for anybody involved in the program, because you know you meet them when they come in, and I'm sure these young men and women are a lot different when they come out of the program, so to speak. Yeah. At the end, as far as what they've learned, and I guess some of the relationships they've built with their classmates, as well as again with the mentors themselves. Correct?
That's
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's not only a mentorship during the class period. Right. But they have our contact numbers, and you know, even like I say, past students will reach out to us now with issues and success stories that they are having in their lives.
Right. And I guess it's a unique opportunity for public safety personnel to meet with these young people one-on-one, and they get to know you kind of behind the badge, so to speak.
Correct.
And know you as individuals and as mentors, as adults, and people who are you know, doing something with their lives, and giving them an opportunity to see a role model, you know, something that they can possibly shoot for or think about, well, that might be a career I'm interested in, or just kind of putting their life maybe a little different perspective, correct?
That's correct. Absolutely, yes. You know, they come in on 2 nights a week. They come in the afternoon after they get off school, and when they get here, the first thing, you know, we do is we feed them. It's the best way to get their attention right away. But we feed them when we get here, and then class will start. The mentors will show up, and there's a time right before we start the education part of the evening where it's just talking to them, finding out how things went in school today. If there was an incident that happened at school, we'll take that student and pull them out and talk to them about it, and see if we can help work through what they went through that day.
Sure.
You know, stuff that they might not have at home, where you know they don't have anybody to bend their ear when they get home. Right. They can bend our ear, and we give them a safe haven that they can talk to us about and help them work through those things.
And I guess just knowing that people are there to support them sometimes makes a big difference, I would assume, in the lives of these young people again. Now, we talked about you know, the mentor aspect, but let's talk about what are some of the topics, what are some of the things that go on during the classes. Again, you mentioned twice a week, and it runs for several weeks now. We're talking about almost 2 months or so, give or take?
I think it's 13 weeks now.
Correct.
We run it out to May. I think the final session is going to be May 18th this year, and it's like you said, it's a variety of topics. It's not just firefighting and police department. However, there are different topics within the fire department and police department that interest them.
Right.
Like in the police side, they do a CSI class where they do crime scene investigations. And, I can let him talk about that. But we also do stuff on the fire side where they learn a little bit of EMS. They learn a lot about ropes and rescue stuff that we use in the fire department, as well as the fire trucks and how we put out a fire. It's not just putting water on a burning building. There's a lot of technical aspects that we relate to them in a educational fashion that just shows them that you need math to be a firefighter.
Yes.
You need you need science to be a firefighter, just like you needed to be a police officer. So we show them that what they're learning in school actually transfers over to careers and what they might be looking at is to do when they get out of school.
And of course, you talk about the education component about public safety, but also, I believe most of you noted, life skills, which
Right.
is something that sometimes is with everything else they're learning in school. I mean, they're taught, some, but and not to shortchange the school system, but I'm just saying it's another avenue to get that information across to them that they're able to pick up on those things and again, maybe make a big impact in their lives, correct?
It is, and we also we have some other agencies other than fire and police come in, and some of those agencies they talk about things like social networking, dealing with peer pressure and bullying, which is real prevalent in our society today, and then we kind of culminate a lot of the things, all of the academy. At the end with a ride along, what we call a police and fire department ride along, and the kids really get excited because they get to ride on the big red engines and ride around in the police cars. And afterward, we come back in and then we have another meal that night, and just to sit around and listen to the stories they tell and some of the places they've seen and the incidents they experienced is real enlightening.
Now, again, we're talking youth ages 13 to 17 at the time of registration, correct?
That's correct.
Now, how can someone, if a parent, a caregiver, or a youth is out there watching this program and they would like to get involved, they think this is something I'd like to check out and see, what's the next step they need to take? How's that process work?
They can contact Fire Marshal Pam King here at Station 6.
Okay.
She can be reached at 514-4540.
Okay.
And we can get them an application at that point. In the schools, the resource officers in the schools are handing out applications to students that they think could benefit from the program.
Sure.
And also Detective Joyce Williams from the police side, and her number is 514-7942.
Okay.
And she's doing the same thing, being able to get the applications to students.
Now, again, there is a deadline for registration. That's coming up pretty soon. We're talking February.
February the 6th is the deadline.
And again, there's a limited amount of space in the classes.
Space.
So really, the sooner you get your registration form in,
Right.
the quicker you have a shot at getting in, correct?
Right. That's correct. And over the past couple of years, we did have a multitude of applications come in, and we have to screen the applications for various things, and then we narrowed it down to a class size of 18. So it is important to get the applications in. Likewise, they can pick them up at Parks and Recs. The Parks and Recs, they have the applications, and the various police department precincts, they also have the applications in the lobbies. So, but it is important that they get the application in because, as I say, the deadline is fast approaching, and we want to screen the applications and get the students enrolled.
Now, is there transportation provided? Because obviously we're in such a big city, and it's not it's not everybody from one school or one area or another. It's throughout the city of Suffolk. So, how does that work?
Parks and Rec takes care of the transportation for us. They run buses to all the schools. They know what time once the students are picked, they'll set a route up and know which schools they got to pick up from and bring the students here.
Okay.
And then at the end of the evening, they'll pick the students here, pick them up here at Station 6, and then transport them to their homes. And that's all free.
Now, one question, you mentioned the word free. What is the cost for someone to be in the program? I believe that's also free, correct?
That is. It is.
So-
There's no cost to it.
Okay.
We just we have a orientation with them when they
Right.
come in.
Right.
We tell them what's expected of them and let them know that you're signing up for 13 weeks. This isn't just a 2-week thing.
Right.
You're signing up for 13 weeks, so you're making a commitment.
Yes.
And again, that goes back to the life skills thing.
Right.
When you say you're going to do something, you're
Sure.
going to follow through with it.
Right.
So yeah, there's no cost to it.
Now, when the classes finish up, there's a graduation ceremony, right?
Correct.
What's that like?
Over last couple of years, we've had it at a couple of different venues.
Sure.
And it comes together with several of the city officials and the police department chief and the fire department chief, and the families come out, and it's on the scale of a high school graduation almost. You know, I mean, the kids are excited, the parents are excited, and even for the mentors at time, when the kids come up and approach and say thank you, or the family members say thank you, it kind of touches that emotional side. But it's a very special event, you know, to tap it all off.
And I guess that feeling of accomplishment for everyone involved, because again,
Yes.
you know, you as mentors have seen them kind of go through the progression of the 13 weeks, where they started, where they finished up, and I guess if they, you know, look back and or their parent or guardian look back and see the growth that they're seeing in them over that period of time, because again of what they've been able to experience and take advantage of. So
That's great.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
now, you know, we have a few minutes left, but I'm going to get both of you to kind of have feedback on this one. If someone is considering, either I use the word nominating someone or trying to encourage someone to participate, or someone's considering participating, him or herself, what would you say to encourage them to take that next step, to get the application, to get going, about the importance and really the significance of what this program can offer?
Just being in it in the last 4 years, if you make that step in that direction, it's one that won't be regretted. It's nothing but positive things that come out of this. We don't have any negative stories to tell about the Academy, because the mentors are just sold into the idea of making an impact on the students' lives.
Right.
And like he said, it's not just the police and fire. Western Tidewater Community Services provides us a great resource to where, again, you have speakers that come in and tell these kids, you know, you need to think about what you're going to do past high school, whether it's college or whether it's another career. You need to have ideas of what you're going to do, and it's our job as mentors to help guide them in the correct direction and the way of the right. And I think it's a decision you won't regret if you decide to nominate somebody.
Correct. Sergeant Sparks?
And I would say, you know, just again, prior students, their testimony speaks for themselves, you know, and if anyone is interested and they know of anyone that's participated prior, to speak to them about it. We've had situations where some students were enrolled and could not complete the course for various reasons. One student had an injury and couldn't complete, but he was knocking the door down that next year to get back in to complete the course,
Right.
you know. And sometimes when the students come in and at the first session, the orientation, they're kind of apprehensive about what this program might be.
Right.
But come along that third or fourth week, you know, what are we doing next week? What are we doing tomorrow? What are we, you know, I mean, they're really buying into
Right.
it. So, again, it's just a program to help young people to kind of guide them in the right path.
Correct.
And you know, just to assist them that they might in some way live a better life.
Exactly. Well, again, thank you both for spending time with us today, talking about the Youth Public Safety Academy, again, coming up here in the city of Suffolk very quickly. Again, the registration deadline early February, and those classes will be get going relatively soon after that and run through May, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so again, we'll have the contact information on the screen. You can find out who you need to contact to get an application form, or perhaps if you just have questions. And again, we have some of this information online as well. So again, the application forms are there so you can look and kind of see what's involved. But again, gentlemen, thank you for taking your time today to talk about this very interesting and important topic here in the city of Suffolk. That would do it for this edition of Safety First. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. We'll see you next time.